Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand Friday night show. Ooh, how are we all doing? It's Friday night, been down pub, let's get ready to rumble. Lots to talk about on the show tonight, and we're going to be talking about Erik ten Hag demanding Marcus Rashford's given more time by the fans, by the players, by the fans and everybody else. And also we're going to be talking about the damning stat that haunts Erik ten Hag. It's really interesting. We'll get into that as well. Also, we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about. Oh yeah, Ten Hag's been talking about what's going wrong, why it's going wrong. A few excuses, but he's given the indication of why it's going wrong. And I'm going to tell you why it's going wrong. And I'm going to tell you why I think he's got it wrong and how he's trying to get it right and how he needs to simplify things. We'll talk about that as well. And also, I just want to start off with this. Can we just seriously have a moment for Sir Alex and his adoring wife, Lady Cathy Ferguson, who passed, I think, yesterday, but we heard about it today. It's really bothered me today. It really has bothered me knowing that. And look, you know, I say it all the time to you, we're not here forever. We're here for a good time, not a long time. And, you know, death comes to us all. It shouldn't be a surprise, but it's always sad. Unless it's somebody, well, no, it's always sad. And effectively, I just feel for Sir Alex. And they've had such a, you know, big relationship, long relationship. And, you know, he retired because her sister had died and he wanted to spend more time with her. Obviously, he went through that serious moment with himself. And it's just really, really sad. And I think everybody in football is sad about it. But I think as United fans, you know, we love Sir Alex and we don't want to think about him, you know, grieving and sad like he will be in his family and everybody close to them. So obviously thoughts go out to them, definitely. This is what we do. It's what we do. We do real life on here. We do real life. Right. Anyway, back to the show. Let's get on with it. Let me talk to you about, well, lots I want to talk about. It's Friday night and we're ready to go, of course. I want to talk about this amazing stat that haunts Erik ten Hag. Effectively, basically, before the League Cup final where we beat Newcastle, 68% win rate. Since that League Cup final in February, 50% win ratio. I mean, that is... People think it's this season. I'm so glad that we can finally admit that the end to the season last year was really ropey, you know, and it also coincides with Rashford. United's season after the League Cup was when it started to go wrong. The warning signs were there. People think like, oh yeah, we did well last season, and we did, but the warning signs were there last season. So it's a damning stat that haunts Erik ten Hag. And also, I said I'd do this down the pub. Danny, there's a haunting... Right, basically, we've just been down the pub and a couple of drinks. Danny doesn't buy a round when everyone knew it was his round from last week, and he's got away with it again. So whilst Erik ten Hag might have a damning stat about, you know, 50% win ratio when it was 68%, Danny has got a damning stat against him. In fact, it's not even a shocking stat, it's just a reality stat. You know, you're 42, Danny, you've barely ever had a girlfriend, and your mum still does your hair. I said I would do it as well. Next time, buy a bloody... In fact, next time, buy 2 rounds. Absolute joker. Hi, he is a friend, by the way. Hi, I am Ten Hag. Says, will you do a review reaction to the Beckham documentary? Well, just ask me about it. I'll talk to you about it now. I'll talk to you about it in 20 minutes when I've got through all the topical stuff. It's Friday night. Ask me a question. Hi, Mark. I'm Ten Hag in, but no, I thought Zold. I thought you were going to say you're Ten Hag. Zoldberg says I'm Ten Hag in, but nobody can convince me that he's any good. No recruitment strat. Out of position players, mid-table tactics, draconian off-the-field rules, and player favouritism. Zoldberg, that really to me sounds like you should be Ten Hag out. And I'm not here to push anybody to be Ten Hag out, but how can you be Ten Hag in and then say nobody convinced me that he's any good, no recruitment, out of position players, mid-table? That's like saying I'll marry you, but you're ugly. I can't stand your personality, and I'd rather go on a date with Piers Morgan and sleep with him. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Like, don't be afraid to say you don't like the manager. if you don't want to. Glenny Boy says, is that the new Christmas jumper, Mark? Glenny Boy, I'm glad you've got some sense, because I've completely forgotten about that. There'll be people in my ear if I had headphones, which I don't. This happens to me a lot. This is why I don't wear headphones, because they'd be going, Goldbridge, do this, do this. So this is the new United Stand Christmas jumper. It's knitted. I don't know whether you can see that. It's a knitted jumper. So it's not like print. It's proper knitted. We did a limited run last year, and it was black and white. This year, we've gone for the, this style. And as you can see, there we go. I can't wait for Christmas. And then it's got United 2 on the back as well. It's got sleeves. Well, it's got sleeves anyway, but it's lovely, lovely. And it's knitted. So get yours ordered while you can. They do ship worldwide. We only do a limited run of about, I can't remember how, I think we did 500 last year. So, and they do quite well. And they are collector's items because they're knitted as well. Lovely stuff. You can see the knitted lining there. I forgot about that. Glenny Boy, you deserve a big shout out for that. I completely forgot. And I guarantee our producer is going, he's a bloody idiot. He's meant to be telling everybody about them being for sale, and he's just chatting away. Absolutely. Will White says stunning. Oh no, I think he was watching the show. Rashford only plays well when he wants a new deal. Soon as he has it, he downs tools, says Raz. Very surprising. There we go. Michael got one last year. Get one this year. Delivered worldwide. Links in the description and in the live chat. Get yours pre-ordered. I know it's not Christmas yet, but we like to think of our worldwide audience, because obviously sometimes it can take 2 or 3 weeks to be delivered. So get in there and get them ordered. Thanks, Glenny Boy. You've saved me. It's fantastic. It's a brilliant Christmas jumper. I mean, I'm tempted to start wearing it all the time. I didn't wear it down the pub. Right, let's get on with the show. Friday night shows just cuts differently, doesn't it? It cuts through a chainsaw through a Twix. It really does. I love the Friday show. It's where I can just relax and let myself go after a tough week. Right, let me go and say this, that in relation to... what am I doing? Okay, yeah, so I want to sort of bring in that interesting stat that people want to talk about Man United and is not doing very well. And I want to go into some of the things that Ten Hag said, but I wanted to, overarch, roof it off. I wanted to just basically sort of put something on top of it and say that there is an overarching issue here, that we've had a really bad start to the season, but those in the know would take it back to the Carabao Cup final, where we didn't actually play that well against Newcastle either. But the wheels started to come off there. I would put it a little bit like a wheel that's becoming loose. The wheels were coming loose at the Carabao Cup final, yeah? We got through to the end of the season just about, and then the wheels have come off this season. That's a good point, isn't it? That is a good point. So we had a 68% win ratio going into the Carabao Cup final. Ever since then, it's gone down to 50%. So, look, you can take it back to there. We know we can take Rashford's form back to there as well. Now, Ten Hag has spoken about what the issue is with Manchester United in his press conference today. I'm sure you heard Beth reacting to it earlier. And consistency is something that he has said is a big problem. Mark, can you say hi to my brother, Tanaka? He's been watching you for years, all the way from Zimbabwe, says Brandon. There you go. Happy birthday to you. No, it's not your birthday. I mean, hello to you. Not happy birthday. If it could be happy birthday, just clip it up and use it later. I don't do Cameo. I'll leave that to Ginge. He's fucking rinsing it. I think it's just a wish James Brindley, or whatever his name is, off Buckley, off In-Betweeners, the buswanker guy. He must get bored doing that. Imagine doing that all day. People think Cameo's good. I would never do Cameo. Imagine that. Goldbridge, can you say you're a prat? I'll give you 50 quid. And just sitting there all day going, James, you're a prat. All the best, Mark Goldbridge. Record, send it off. Boring. Bloody boring. I'd rather stroke a cat. I think I'm at a point that I want United to tank relegation battle. It's the only way these owners will panic, and I don't see any other way, says Harry. Yeah, I'm like you, Harry. I could, you know what? I've had trebles. I've had a few trebles tonight. I've had trebles. I've had title races. I could really do with a United relegation battle just for a change. I'd love that. Harry, you're talking out your arse. We don't want a bloody relegation battle. Are we winning tomorrow? I need the smile back, says Chris. Yes, you can take it. The Goldbridge seal of approval that we're winning tomorrow. And I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk. I've only had lemonade. I don't condone drunkenness on a stream. It's irresponsible and bad. Anyway, but look, let me get back onto this show because Erik ten Hag said after the game, no, he said in the press conference today, he said the problem with United is consistency. Consistency is the problem. You can also add in concentration. We know the reasons for it, but we're fighting against it. And we're continually having to make changes, and that breaks the routine. And Nev's been a member for 7 months. Well, you know what, Eric? I agree with you about consistency being the problem, although it's slightly hypocritical because we have been consistently bad for 10 years. So we are consistent, but we're just consistently bad. And what he's trying to say is we lack consistency. And he's right. You know, we can do good things, but we can't be consistent with it. So actually, we are consistent. We're just consistently bad. And when he says there's reasons for it, I think this is where he's trying to be vague about the excuses of injury, because he says, look, we've analysed it and, you know, there's reasons why we're inconsistent, but, you know, we're fighting against that. And then he said about the changes breaking the routine. But I tell you what, though, I mean, everybody has injuries. And if we're going to take it back to the Carabao Cup, which is where this started, that was February. And did he not realise, or did his fitness laptop people not tell him that these players that you've got are knackered and they're only going to have a very small summer? So they're not going to be ready to go another 9 months for you 3 times a week. And why did you buy 2 players that were already injured? And, you know, what I mean, I don't know. Did we not walk into an obvious situation is what I'm trying to... You get me honest when I've had a drink of lemonade. I back Ten Hag. I want him to do really well. But is anybody surprised that we... I mean, when I think about it, I'm not surprised that we started the season like this. I wish I'd predicted it. You know, I said I couldn't predict this season at the start of the season, but I wish I had predicted it and said, especially on the warning signs of the tour where we were rubbish, I wish I'd said we were going to have a really bad season. We're too tired from last year. We've not bought well, and we're going to walk straight into a bad season where everyone else is prepared. I think it is an excuse that we can't put our best team out and that we have got injuries, but is it not an obvious excuse? And would a competent football club not have foreseen it? That Erik ten Hag just needs to play Rashford right and Anthony left as Keel. Mark, I love hyenas so much. They're the heroes of the Lion Kingdom, and our animalism is unfair, says Nelson. I love the jumper, Mark. Where can I buy it from? Links in the live chat and in the video description. And hi, Mark. I can say something controversial. The way this season, would you take 10th place if the Glazers went? Yes, I would, Alan. I would. If the Glazers went, I would take 10th place. Of course I would. I don't know how low I'd go, actually. But you know what? I do think it's really important to say that I don't think the injuries are an excuse. I don't. I think this was obvious from last February. I think anybody who knew anything about sports science knew. And I think we all know I know lots about sports science, sports and science. There's lithium, magnesium, potassium, and calcium. Something else and something else. Titanium, potassium. I think I've used that before. And I know about football, so sports science. Hi, Mark. All news around Onana and Rashford say that Erik ten Hag isn't dropping them to give them confidence. If we don't drop them, how do we keep their standards up? Says Jehan. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But I think with regards to this terrible situation that I've completely lost, yeah. So with regards to this situation, I think this was obvious. You know what I'm trying to say here is that we're all trying to. Everyone's like, oh, Ten Hag, Man United, what's gone wrong this season? What's gone wrong this season? And I think there's 2 big factors. That's for you, Danny. You tight twat. There's 2 factors. I can't. Yeah, there's two factors that really wind me up, and that is that they don't wind me up actually. There's two things that make me think that this season's we shouldn't be just talking about this season. Oh, it's the worst start to the Premier League season we've ever had. Look at the end of the season. Look at the volume of games. I think this was inevitable if we didn't have a good summer transfer window, and we didn't. I think we were walking into this disaster because we didn't have, you know, we finished last season badly, and it's continued, and the fatigue of last season is impacted on the team, definitely. But one other thing he said, he was asked about how can he change it, and he said this, consistency equals, you know, that, you know, we're searching for this consistency, and we're trying to find ways to, you know, to be like that. And Jack says it's been almost a year since the club initially went up for sale. By the time we are sold, you'll probably be sitting on a rocking chair with a couple of grandkids listening to you talk about 9908, says Jack. Thank you very much. Mark, what are the odds Amrabat plays in midfield? None, Zach. 0. I'll give you 0 odds, actually. I'll give you 0 odds. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, Ten Hag basically in his press conference today said that, you know, we need consistency and we need concentration. It's very hard because we can't keep the same team together. And, you know, maybe some people would take that as an excuse. And it got me thinking to something we were talking about on the watch along the other night. And that was that the key to me is really quite simple. We have got no pattern of play and we've got no balance. Nobody knows what the team is tomorrow and nobody knows how it's going to play. But when I watch Brighton play Liverpool on Sunday, and when I watch Man City on Arsenal play on Sunday, I know how all 4 of those teams are going to play, regardless of what team the manager picks. But I don't know how Man United are going to play tomorrow, and this is amazing. But whether it's the last 18 months of Ten Hag, or whether it's the last 4 years with Solskjaer, or whether it's the last 7 years, and let's include Mourinho, I absolutely do not know game to game how Man United are going to play. And you know, Spurs know tomorrow lunchtime what they're going to do with Angie, and they also know. I love that song by Rolling Stones. I think it's called Angie, and Angel maybe. You never know. You never know with Mick Jagger. Angie could be Angel. Anyway, they you know how they're going to play. You know how they're going to play. I don't know how we're going to play. I don't know what lineup we're going to play. And this is something I think Ten Hag could have done. I'm going to shock you now. I watched Liverpool play a Carabao Cup game about 2 years ago. I don't even know why I watched it. And I think they played Southampton at the Dell or St Mary's. And he changed about 9 of his players, maybe even 11 of his players. And I was like, they're going to get knocked out. And I think they won. And I watched it. And they played exactly like the first team, even though he'd made basically 11 changes. And I'll tell you what, I don't like Liverpool, but I was impressed. I was impressed by this manager. And I thought to myself, because I was watching on my own, I thought to myself, you know what? That's a system. That's a manager. He can change his whole team. 11 new players come in and they play exactly the same way. You know why? Coaching, philosophy. This is who we are. This is how we play. And that's why, to me, excuses about making changes and injuries don't back up. It's an excuse, but it doesn't excuse you not having an identifiable wife, an identifiable way of playing. Mark, you always talk about Rashi and Bruno not being City calibre players. I think Wan-Bissaka and Shaw are. Having them back will make big differences, says Luke. Mark, what are you thinking about Varane being the captain, says Chris. And gotta love Drunk Bridge, says Nate. Well, I'm not drunk. And we are going through exactly the same situation Liverpool went through last year. Injuries and fatigue hurt them as well. Hopefully we will bounce back, says Mario Franco. Yes, but at least Liverpool last year had an identifiable way of playing and they did struggle. My point is, the solution for Man United to me, and I'm surprised that Ten Hag doesn't know this, is instead of putting square pegs in round holes and we don't even know how to play. Every time I watch United at the moment, I just don't know I don't think they know what they're doing. There doesn't seem to be any identifiable way of playing, right? And I'm like, well, you look at that Liverpool side I just mentioned, 11 players changed, but they still play the same system. Man United, with their best 11 or subs or injuries or whatever, what football are we playing? And I think this is where we've gone wrong. If Ten Hag had an identifiable way of playing that these whole squad knew, I don't think the injuries would be so severe. And I think we'd be more balanced. And I also think if you just put Amrabat in the midfield, that's my real issue. I just want Amrabat in the midfield. If you put Amrabat in his best position, and you put Bruno in his best position, and then you put Palestri or Anthony on the right, and you bench Mount or Bruno, and you play one of them at 10, I think that helps as well, because it's balance. He talks about we're not getting any consistency, and we can't get, the changes are an issue. But every game there's something new, We played Burnley away. We had Johnny Evans at centre-back and Mabry in the midfield. Then we've got Palistri on the right wing. Then we've got Bruno on the right wing. Then we've got Mabry back in the midfield again. Then Eriksen's here at half-time. And then Mount's back in the team. And Amrabat's at left-back. And it's like, there's no balance to the team. Nobody knows what they're doing. There's no patterns of play. There's no chemistry. There's no identity. There's no accountability. I think the only way out of this is if you want consistency and you want concentration, you need familiarity. If I went to bed tonight and Mrs. Goldbridge wasn't there and somebody else was there and we're watching the Beckham not Netflix documentary, as much as I want to watch the Beckham not documentary, I'm not going to be as concentrated and relaxed and happy if, Will from the podcast is in bed next to me. I'm going to be like, I don't like this. I like the documentary, I like my bed, but I don't like this. I'm not comfortable with this. This isn't consistency. And in the same way, I bet it's the same for Casemiro. I bet he's in that midfield and he's like, who's playing with me today? Who's tracking the runners today? It's and trust me, if I was in bed with Will, I'd be tracking the runners very, very vigorously. Nothing's getting near me. I'm tired. Our team needs to be cleaned from top to bottom, and Ten Hag isn't good in man management, says Mohammed. And Nevster, thank you very much for giving us a gift in a membership. But you are a star, Marcus, says Nevster. And hi, Mark, I'm Sam, and I think McTominay is shite. Thanks, Sam. Always nice to break the conversation up. But you know what I mean? I mean, who am I to tell Erik Ten Hag what he needs to do? But I can sort of see why we're struggling, because we've got no identity and we're constantly making changes and we're constantly changing how the team lines up and we're constantly picking the same bad players and we're constantly moving people out of position. And I just think that, there must be a left back that can play tomorrow somewhere, whether it's recall from loan or something. There must be someone who can play left back. Put Amrabat in the midfield. And the scary thing as well is we're weakening our spine. What's the point in having a good, strong left hand if you can't walk? And what I mean by that is our spine is not strong. Rasmus is only 20 and he's learning his way. The goalkeeper is new and he's a bit of a liability at the moment. Obviously, we're missing Martinez. Casemiro can't do it all on his own. So that spine is not strong. But I can strengthen, and Bruno's playing on the wing, so that Mason Mount, another new player, can settle in. So you look at the spine at the moment, Rasmus is only 20, he's actually doing well, but he is only 20 and he's learning his way. Mount's new, yet to settle. You've got Bruno on the wing, you've got Casemiro, who is consistent, you've got Varane, who is consistent, you've got no Martinez, and you've got a goalkeeper who is, a bit dodgy at the moment. So it's a weakened spine. Now, if you go Rasmus, Bruno, who's the captain and can play 10, Amrabat, who's a centre defensive midfielder, Casemiro, Varane, and whoever else, that's suddenly a lot stronger spine. And any idiot knows that in football, you start with your spine. And we're weakening the spine. We're putting our captain and best number 10 on the wing, and he's underperforming. We're putting a brand new CDM who's got more energy than anybody at left back, and we're weakening the spine. And I just don't understand it. Chiropractor bridge, yes, Kelvin. I've got lower back pain, but I think this is the way to do it. But he's convinced that it's not. We get Bruno off the wing, Amrabat into the midfield, and things will start to click for us. Anthony coming back into the team is very important. Yeah, but you know what? I think tomorrow, Reguilon is out. That's what Ten Hag said. I'm hoping there's a little sting in the tail there, bit of Scorpions time. But I think that, you know, there's absolutely no chance. I actually think at the moment, oh, you know what? I'm just going to say it. You know me. I'm just going to say it. I don't know whether I should. Sod it. I'm going to say it. I think that the absence of a left back is rather convenient for Ten Hag at the moment. Oh, I've said it. Oh, I'm anti Ten Hag. I'm not. But I think it is convenient for Ten Hag at the moment that there is no left back. And the reason for that is I don't think he's even in a rush to put Amrabat in the midfield. I don't. I really don't. Because if he was, he'd play him in the midfield. There was another way to... Amrabat doesn't have to play at left back. I can think of 2 other situations where we don't need to play him at left back. We've still got Harry Maguire and we've still got Johnny Evans that can come into the centre back position, and you can shift it around to put Delot at left back. So Lindelof has played at right back quite a few times in his career for various clubs. So he doesn't even have to put Amrabat at left back. And all this, it's necessary, cost us 2 goals the other night. I actually think that he's putting Amrabat at left back because it's convenient for him, because he wants to play Mount and Bruno in the same midfield, and he doesn't want to drop either of them. So tomorrow, what I think happens is Amrabat's at left back, and it's Mount and Bruno in the midfield with Anthony on the right. And it might be enough to beat Charlton, to be fair, Brentford. I spoke about the coaching on the last show, which got lost in the moment. We have coaches from different eras still here. To top it off, they aren't the best. Our set piece inability is proof, says Kate. Yeah, 100%. I was talking about this morning, Kate, and you're absolutely spot on. You just asked for consistency. United says, you just asked for consistency, yet asked Eric Ten Hag to move players around again. You're confused. You can't build consistency with this many injuries. You're confused, United. You can't even spell United. You put a Y in front of it. You're not angry, Ginge. Just spell it properly, or couldn't you get that username? You're confused. I'm not confused. How am I confused? You're saying you're confused. You want consistency, but he can't get consistency with this many injuries. Of course you can get bloody consistency. Straight away, stop putting Amrabat at left back and stop putting Bruno on the wing. Put Bruno at number 10, put Amrabat in the midfield, put Delot at left back and Lindelof at right back, Maguire and Varane at centre back, and keep picking that fucking team. That's consistency. It's a stronger spine as well. I'm not confused. I might have had a couple of lemonades, but I'm not confused. That's much better than what shit you're talking about. It's rubbish what we're doing at the moment. You know, it is. Ray says, if our form in current guys continues, where do you see us finishing? I'm trying to be positive, but at best, fearful, could end up 15th or 16th. Well, if you look at the league table as it stands at the moment, and I don't even know if I can do this. This is going to be a bit of an ask for me. But I'm going to do it anyway because I just don't care. And that's the way we roll here. I've hurt my ear now. That's United's fault for me making me stretch my jaw. No, I don't like stretching my jaw. Oh, I really have hurt it as well. It's Friday night. Don't worry. We'll be all right. I want to just get this up here. Okay. We are still on page 1. Thank God. So, what I was trying to say is that if you look at that league table there, even if we beat Brentford tomorrow with 12 points, yeah? But I think Crystal Palace are at home to somebody. Why don't you just look at the fixtures, you bloody knobhead? Why are you always trying to cut corners, Goldbridge? You could have just prepped this. I've had enough of you again, I might. You're as bad as that, Dan E. Okay, so Crystal Palace are at home to Forest. They could win. We're home to Brentford, of course. We should win that. Spurs are home to... Look, Spurs are going to have 20 points because, look, we're not closing the gap. Basically, what I'm trying to say is we're not going to close the gap on Spurs because they're going to beat Luton. Arsenal, Man City, we'll probably close the gap on them because if they draw or one of them lose, but we're never going to catch them anyway. Liverpool are playing Brighton, so probably for us, we would want a Brighton win or a draw. West Ham, I think, are at home as well on Sunday. I'm sure West Ham are at home. Yeah, West Ham, Newcastle. What I'm trying to say is that, look, even beating Brentford, I think you make a great point there. Even if we beat Brentford, I look above us and I go, we're never catching Man City. We're never catching Arsenal. We're never catching Liverpool. They're gone. Those three are gone. We're not going to close a gap of 7 points on Liverpool or 8 points on Arsenal, and we're certainly not going to close a 9-point gap on Man City. They're gone. Forget about it. Absolutely gone. Manchild says Pellistri doesn't work, can't defend, gives it away. So we're not catching Arsenal, Man City or Liverpool. Forget about it. Forget about it. So really for us, we're looking at 4th place, maybe 5th place. And we're looking at Aston Villa, we're looking at Brighton, and we're looking at Spurs. Well, Spurs are 8 points ahead of us, and they'll win again tomorrow, and they've got some very winnable games. It's not going to be long. If Spurs get 10 points ahead of us, I don't think we'll catch them. So Spurs are a concern. What I'm trying to say is we're on thin ice. And I'm loving all the hearts because you're right. We're on thin ice. We're not catching Man City. We're not catching Arsenal. And we're not catching Liverpool. So our only definite route to the Champions League final, Champions League next year, which is imperative for this football club, is 4th place. And there's only one spot up for grabs. And Spurs are nearly 10 points ahead of us. So, and that's being disrespectful. I mean, look, I think we can reel in Newcastle if we start winning. I think we could reel in Villa because they've got Thursday night football and so have Brighton. And I think we can reel in West Ham for the same reason. But my concern is Spurs. I'm concerned about Spurs because we won't catch City, Arsenal and Liverpool, and Spurs are already 8 points ahead of us and they're going to win tomorrow. So I'm worried. I'm worried about what we can do even when we finally do get a bit of form, because it's such a bad, it's the worst start to a Premier League season for Manchester United for a reason. That's why it's difficult. And if you look at Spurs' next few games, away to Luton tomorrow, easy work. Then after the international break, they've got Fulham at home. You'd expect them to win that. Their next game after that, you wouldn't believe their next few fixtures. So their next game is Crystal Palace away. So they've got Luton, Fulham, Crystal Palace, their next few games. And then their 4th game is Chelsea at home, which, could be difficult. Wolves away. And then they've got Villa at home. So look, Spurs could keep winning for quite a few weeks yet. Because let's not forget, Spurs have already played Liverpool. They've already played Arsenal. And they've already played us. So it's tough. It's really tough to see how we get back into this race. All comes down to the board's decision not to get a centre-back in. Ten Hag's stubborn with Maguire because he doesn't want to put him at centre-back and force him out, says Levi. If he really wants both Mount and Bruno to play, I'd rather him have Mount on the wing and Bruno in the midfield. That makes way more sense, says V. Mate, at the end of the day, cheers for the jumper, Mark. Order place, says Michael Wright. Legend, if you want to get them, links in the live chat. They go on release in the middle of the month, but you can pre-order them now. When they're gone, they're gone. It's a limited run. Worldwide, they go. You've made me lose. You've made me lose, mate. You've made me lose. Oh, V, that was it. Sometimes in life, you realise there's only 11 players that play football. And when you realise there's only 11 players... Oh, shout out to Seb, by the way. 8 out of 8 in his spelling test. Last week he got 6 out of 8, coached by his mother. Goldbridge Ball took over this week. Tactics, and 8 out of 8. Just want to probably shout myself out there, but ultimately Seb scored the goals. Well, he got the spelling test right. Well done. Anyway, I wanted to talk about what you were going to say. Hi, Mark. Off topic, but I'm starting to feel confident about the Champions League. If we can beat Copenhagen twice, I think we'll be in a good position, says Jonah. I'll come back to that because that's interesting to me. When you figure out that there's 11 players on the pitch and you figure out that Bruno is never getting dropped because he's the captain and Mount's never getting dropped because he's been given the number 7 shirt and for some reason Erik ten Hag is obsessed with him, and he's never going to drop Casemiro, and he spent 80 million euros on Antony, and he's not going to drop Højlund, and he's definitely not going to drop Rashford. Pray tell me how the fuck Amrabat gets in that midfield, because it's just so obvious what's going to happen. And I think there's a tipping point with the fans coming. I really do, because when you start to think about it, Tutorbridge says V, when you start to think about it, and look, we've got to see the proof in the pudding. You know, let's not get over the top yet. But I think that pudding is going to be the pudding I think it is. You know, if that oven door is shut and everyone's going, oh, is it a treacle sponge? Is it an apple pie? Is it a spotted dick? Is it a custard pie or whatever? Then I'm telling you, I know what that cake is. It's banana cake. And some people might like it and some people might not. But I know what it is because I can smell it. And I saw Ten Hag putting the ingredients in. And, you know, I think some people think it's going to be that apple crumble. It's not. It's going to be the banana cake. Because I know what Ten Hag is cooking. But you've got to see it first. And it's just a deducement. I'm impressed I got that out. It's a deducement of fact and personality. He is going to pick Casemiro and rotate him with Amrabat. And he is going to play Mount and Bruno in that midfield three, with Antony on the right, Rashford on the left, and Højlund through the front. And if I'm wrong on this, I'll be very, very happy. But I'm warning you. I think people think we're going to get the midfield we want and need. We saw it last season so many times when we lost games. We got run through the midfield because Casemiro can't do it all on his own. But I think that's the design that Ten Hag has implemented. He wants to play Casemiro, Mount and Bruno in the midfield with Antony on the right and Rashford on the left. And I'll guarantee he's going to do it tomorrow. And I guarantee that's his plan for the future. And the problem with it is, it might work against 75% of the teams, but when we go to Newcastle, when we go to Anfield, when we go to the Emirates, which have already been, or the Etihad, we will get turned over like an apple turnover. I don't think Ten Hag's plan is what we think it is. I don't think his plan is Amrabat and Casemiro with Mount or Bruno as a 10, giving us some stability and balance in the midfield. I think it's abundantly clear that Rashford's never going to get dropped. Antony's never going to get dropped. Højlund's never going to get dropped. Bruno's never going to get dropped. Casemiro will rotate with Amrabat, and Mount's never going to get dropped because he spent £55 million on him. And it worries me. That worries me. I think that's job-specific worrying me. I think that is, you lose your job in the long term with a balance like that. But on another way, it might bloody work, and then in which case he's a bloody genius. But I think it was very obvious. I don't know why people have changed their mind about what our midfield is. When he bought Mount, the only logical reason to buy Mount was that he was an upgrade on Eriksen. Now, I didn't like the Eriksen, Casemiro, Bruno midfield dynamic last year, but as soon as he bought Mount, it was obvious that Mount was the Eriksen upgrade. So what's Amrabat? Utility guy? He is only on loan after all. Hate to be a cynic, Mark, but I'm thinking knocked out of the Champions League, Europa League, but maybe we get a Carabao Cup and 7th place run and get into the Conference League. Ooh, I love it, Shun. Will be a banana cake, but might produce the results of a space cake, says Andrew81. I feel I must answer the question about the... do you think we're out of the Champions League? Because I've already done it. I've already done the top 4. I think we can only finish 4th, and even that is dependent on a collapse from Spurs, which at this moment in time doesn't look good. Looking at our group in the Champions League, I would say that Bayern Munich have got 6, Galatasaray have got 4, Copenhagen have got 1, we've got 0. There's 4 games to go. You could logically say we beat Copenhagen twice and get a win in Galatasaray. That would give us 9 points. It could work, actually. It could work because Galatasaray drew at home to Copenhagen. So what if they draw away and then we beat them and then they lose to Munich? They'd only have 5 points. So, yeah. Galatasaray beat Copenhagen away. That takes them to 7. And then draw with us at home. That takes them to 8. We'd have to beat Bayern. I mean, there's still a chance. There's still a chance. It's hard. It's hard, but there's still a chance. We don't look. We do well. I will say this: we don't deserve to be going through. We don't deserve to go through, do we? Really? I mean, we've lost our first 2 games, but I wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't write us off in the Champions League just yet. There is still a chance, I suppose. I wanted to talk about Rashford, by the way, because it says it on the title, and apology, it's a bit like the jumper that I forgot to tell everyone was available now. You can get it shipped worldwide. Get your Christmas jumpers ordered. They're a limited run. I think we've only got about 500 from what I remember. So get them while you can. Links in the description and in the live chat. Pre-order them. They ship worldwide. They are knitted, by the way. I really like it. I really do like it. But what was I going to say? Yeah, I wanted to talk about... Charlie Gibson says, your headlines for your shows lately tells me there's not enough content to do a show. Charlie, the fact that you're watching this show that apparently isn't talking about much on a Friday night tells me you don't have much of a life. He had a go at me first. So Charlie doesn't like the show, but he's been watching for 48 minutes on a Friday night. I'm just saying, like, you know, he's had a pop at me. I'm giving up my time when I could be down the pub taking a piss out of Danny. And Charlie's having a piss out of all of us. He's taking a piss. I think it's been a great show. I actually think it's been a good show. And I think Charlie is actually feeling a bit silly now. Sometimes you stick your nose in a beehive and you get stung, Charlie. Be very careful. Be very, very careful. James, thank you very much for joining the members club. You're a legend. And now I wanted to talk a bit about Rashford because it was the title of the show and I completely forgot. I just wanted to say this, that I want to get the quotes from Eric Ten Hag, so I'm just buying myself some time. Right, here they are. So this is what Eric Ten Hag had to say about the Marcus Rashford situation. He said that we've seen in the last few weeks he's getting into good positions. He's struggling a little bit, but this will pass because everybody knows he's got qualities. Everyone at United backs him. The whole team is supportive of him and believes in him. So I'm sure with that confidence, with that belief, this will change and it will pass. Obviously, he's getting asked more and more about Marcus Rashford at the moment. He said strikers, when they don't score, they need a moment and it will come. He's so experienced when he's doing the right things, and the momentum will come and he will be fine. I wanted to bring that in, but I do agree with him. I do agree with him. I think it will absolutely happen. Chris B says it will pass. It's not wind. Well, it does stink a little bit, really. Somebody said it earlier in the show. Why does he keep picking players when they're not playing well? Because ultimately, what message does that send? That he'll just stick by with them until they play well? Actually, some people need a kick up the backside. Everybody's different. I think as an individual, when I used to play football, I've told you this story before. My school team were quite good, and we got to 4 cup finals in my last year of GCSEs, and I had work experience at Grantham Town Football Club, and we had a friendly on the Thursday, and I said to the teacher, who was the manager, I said, I can finish early to come back for the friendly because we had a big cup game on the Saturday. And he was like, no, it's fine. I'm just going to try a few things out anyway. Doesn't matter. And also, I had a bit of an injury because I had shin splints, so he was having to bring me off in the last 15 minutes. So they played this friendly and they won like 4-2. And I knew what was going to happen. I couldn't sleep on the Friday night. I knew what was going to happen on the Saturday morning. And he put the team out and he said, we can change it at half time anyway, but you're not playing because I want to monitor your shin splints. And then our best player wasn't playing either. He says, I'm resting you as well. He said, they're not that good, and if we need to make the subs, we can. And he picked this Pratt in my position, and I think at centre back. He put him at centre back. And apparently everyone was going, yeah, you know what? I don't think it's about your shin. You know what it's like in the dressing room. It's banter. But it's not banter when it's against you. And they were saying in the dressing room, it's nice of him to say he's resting you because of your shin splints instead of just saying he's dropped you. And they knew what they're doing. They're winding me up. They knew I was the best. But I was fuming. I was absolutely fuming. And anyway, we were losing 1-0 at half time and he brought me on and we won 3-1 and he brought the other lad on. But I was fuming. I was absolutely fuming. And I was thinking about this afternoon. I'm definitely the personality. If you want to get me a rise out of me and get me to play better, drop me. Definitely drop me. It messes me up. I fucking hate it. I mean, not anymore. I can't do it anymore. But I hate being dropped. I hate it. And it motivates me. And it makes me fucking hate the manager. And it makes me determined to prove him wrong. I don't think, actually, I've had a bad game. You really, don't worry about it. I'm never going to drop you. I'm never going to drop you. I don't think that helps me. I don't think that helps my personality. Now, maybe that does help an Onana, or it helps a Rashford, or it helps a Bruno. But does it? Are we in a unique position where Onana, Rashford, and Bruno have all got the same personality, and they're all players that actually respond better to not being dropped? I just think they're competitive players who've had to fight from probably being 7 years of age through many different levels of football to get where they are. I bet fundamentally they're very competitive. I just think players should be dropped when they're not playing well. I do. I think they should be dropped because I think time and time again, it's a well-trodden road that if you drop a player for underperforming, they will motivate themselves massively, because every footballer that's made it to that level has to have huge self-motivation. Why can't Casemiro do it on his own? If Rodri can, Casemiro should be able to. Either he ain't up to it or the others ain't up to it, says Rory. We've just answered your own question, Rory. Rodri would not work at Man United with Bruno and Mount as his midfield cover. You've just answered your own question. Like, we know why Casemiro struggles. You can't split yourself into three. When we're being countered, Casemiro can't pick up three midfield runners. It's impossible. He can't do it. You look at the Arsenal game, Eriksen loses Odegaard because Casemiro's picking up someone else. Like, it's been happening for the last 18 months. We concede from crosses because we haven't got good enough players to pick up all the runners. And Casemiro can't do it on his own, and Rodri wouldn't be able to do it all on his own, and Declan Rice wouldn't be able to do it all on his own. You cannot get Christian Eriksen, Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes to competently track runners when it's not their speciality. Jason Day, thank you very much. But look, I just want to say on Rashford, he will turn it around. I agree with Ten Hag. He will turn it around because Marcus Rashford is a player that always, through his career, has gone through hotspots where he can't stop scoring. The flip side is he's always gone through cold spots where he can't play well. So there will be a hotspot for Rashford coming, and everyone will go, he's back! He's proved everybody wrong. The problem will be, when does the down spot come again? Because he's not playing crap because he's got a new contract. That's not true. You know, he had a bad season the season before last. And actually, people say Rashford was brilliant last season. He was brilliant up until the Carabao Cup final, which was in February, and then he fell off. So, Rashford will come good again. The problem is, how do we keep him good consistently, which is what you need from a 350k a week player. I watched Mbappe play the other night. He had a bad game. But does Mbappe have a bad 4 months? No. You can have a bad game, but you can't have a bad 4 months. And that's, you know, I feel like Ten Hag is talking about Rashford and he's waiting for that hot spot so he can go, look at me, I told you. But the problem is, we all know that that hot spot probably won't last forever. And then he'll be back in the cold spot again. And that's why, if I was the manager, I wouldn't just be sat there with Rashford going, just keep going, because at some point they're going to start going in. I'd be more working on, why is this happening every 6 months? Why are you good for 6 months, then you're not good for 4 months? How do we work on that? How do we get more consistency from you? And it's decision making. It's concentration. It's focus. It's knowing when to pass, when to shoot, when to move, when to hold up. That's all the stuff that should be being worked on. And we've all seen, the trouble is, we've all seen Rashford's body language on the pitch. He ain't happy about something. Is he carrying an injury? Is he not happy with the team? But, you know, this is something that can start tomorrow, hopefully, because he ain't going to drop him. And as I said, I worry where Amrabat fits into this team when we get a fit left back, because I can't see him picking. I can't see him picking him in the midfield. I think the midfield's going to be Mount and Bruno, Anthony and Rashford off the wide with Højlund up front. Which tomorrow might not be a bad idea because Brentford are going to play very, very deep. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. I demand a win. Do I expect to win? Well, I do. Do I think we'll win? I don't know. But we have to win tomorrow. We have to win. Thanks everybody for watching. Absolute legends on a Friday night. I appreciate your support as always. Don't forget tomorrow it's going to be a cracking watch along, and we need to win, don't we? 100%. Make sure you subscribe and smash a like on the video. Don't forget, if you want to get one of these, Goldbridge is modelling it tonight. I did remember it's our brand new Christmas design. It's knitted. These will last you for years. These are proper good quality Christmas jumpers. It's a limited run. They do ship worldwide, but once they're ordered, they're gone. Get your orders in. Links in the video description, and it's in the live chat. And thank you for everybody else. They look very good. I like it. I'm very happy. I'd wear it to bed, but I'd probably be a little bit too hot. It's apparently it's going to be a bit of a heat wave in the UK. You know, I don't want a heat wave in October. I don't know about you. I like hot weather in June, July. Take me to the beach. Lovely. Once it hits October the 1st, get cold. You know, I want to put the fire on. I want to have a hot chocolate. You know, packet of biscuits. You know, I want to put the Halloween decorations up. I don't want to wear my shorts and t-shirt this weekend. I'm not interested in it. I'd rather it pissed it down with rain. I'm not bothered. Anyway, thanks everyone. You're legends. Take care. And don't forget, live chat, video description, get your jumpers ordered. I'll speak to you tomorrow.